it's like when there's a feminine woman, you almost like disregard her as being queer at all anyways. Like it's like, oh, it's just a phase for you, or oh, she'll find some guy, or and maybe, who knows, maybe I will date some guy in the future, but right now I'm here with you.
Right.
And respect that. Like I am actively here with you, or it's like, if I go to a pride and I'm all pride clothes, it's like, oh, you must be here supporting one of your friends.
Why?
Yeah, the one whose vagina I just ate before we got here. God.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley, and I'm so happy you came by. The Queerly Blax Show aims to normalize the everyday existence of Black, LGBTQIA+ individuals through an interview-style series with regular folks like you and me. So every week, a new guest shares their story and unique perspective on their existence as an LGBTQIA+ individual. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you subscribe, download, set your reminders to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to another episode of the Queerly Blax Show. Y'all listen, I'm here with a very special guest today. Very special guest. She's not new to these social media, YouTube streets. She's a veteran, okay? We're going to put some respect on her name. We got LaCie in the building, y'all. We got a boss. She's a writer, actress, filmmaker, all the things. LaCie, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, it's me, LaCie, and yes, I'm a published writer. Actually, I have one of the only LGBT books at Nelson Mandela University in South Africa. I am an actress, producer, director. I also own and operate a makeup line and a lingerie line and an adult toy line as well.
You busy. You busy. Whoa, okay. So we're gonna talk about all that. We're gonna talk about all the business ventures. But we gotta jump right to the beginning. We always start with the beginning. I gotta ask, when did you know you liked the ladies?
Okay. Oh my gosh, I love this. Because wait, first, no one ever asked them this ever.
No, because everybody probably assumes that like y'all don't like girls. So.
Facts. But it's like, come on now. Actually, I remember being like 5, and me and my friend were playing. Well, me and my friend and our siblings, we were playing house, and I always wanted. wanted to
play house.
We were touching. No, I always wanted to be like mom and mom, but I always wanted to be like the dad mom, and so I was like, that was always me. And for a long time, I don't know, like I didn't realize that was weird until maybe I was like 8 or 9, and one of my other friends, because I really wanted to kiss her, and so I was like, we should play house, and we should be like mom and mom, and she was like, there's no such thing as mom and mom.
What you talking about? You're wilding. She's like, ain't no two moms. What you just bugging?
What are you talking about? But yeah, I used to try to get all the girls to kiss you. Playing house.
Like, no, I'm not like a mom. I'm like a dad mom, and you're like the mom.
It's true. Like we have to kiss. We have to.
It's like what they do. Did you ever see, like before that, did you see images of like gay relationships or same-sex relationships?
No, not in my real life, but like back when I was a kid, that's when like I don't know how old you are, but like that's when like the Spice Channel would come on, like after like midnight, and like
I'm 32.
Yeah, okay, so right?
I know.
So, like you can stay up extra late, and then you start to like see the commercials of like the call girls.
Well, we weren't supposed to be up, but
facts, but
we was up.
Because that was the time I ever saw like girls being sexual in general for real, and like with each other.
Yeah, and
they were always feminine, and I was like, oh. So I could be like mom.
Yeah. So you've liked girls you like since way back in the day. So going through school, did you date guys ever?
Yeah. So my family is very stereotypical Black, whatever. There wasn't this much acceptance. There weren't people walking around, that were, and if they were gay when I was growing up, they were always like those women that no man wanted them anyways, kind of thing, right?
The throwaways. That's crazy.
Facts, like the women with the beards, and like it was a mess. So I always, my mom and my aunts always told me like, oh, you look like some rich man's wife, right? And so I thought that was my aspiration. Like, I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna be some rich man's wife, I guess. And I guess I'll just date guys. But I always like messed with girls.
Yeah.
But it just always had to be a secret because my mom was always like really big with like appearance growing up and
yeah, how stuff looks. Yeah.
Yes.
That's like the plight of the Black family. I talked about that a couple times. Just like they don't like the parents really legit don't even really be caring. They care about what other people think. They're like,
yeah,
you can't be like this. What your grandma gonna say?
Yes. You can be like that at home.
Yeah. What these people gonna say? We don't be you like, Mom, I'm talking to you though. Like we're having a conversation. Like, do you care? You don't even care. Why you tripping? I'll talk to grandma. I'll deal with grandma. Okay. Which means I'm not going to talk to her at all about this. No. I'm never going to mention this to her at all. But
not at all.
Nice. Yeah. So when did you actually like come out? So did you date guys like, was this through school or through adulthood? When did you come out? Blow it up on me.
I have probably every femme in our age groups coming out story where I was in college. I was 19. I was in the Navy. So I was waiting to go to boot camp. And prior to joining the Navy, I was in college, living my best life. And I flew back home to go to like the frat parties because they were amazing. And I met this girl, touch me not, real hard stud, literal boy, right? But I liked her and I knew she was a girl. And I was just like, okay. And it's the every lesbian thing where we met on like a Friday. By Sunday, she was taking me to meet her family. They had a barbecue. It's true. by the next week, there was actually there was a tornado, and it was projected to hit the airport that I had to fly out of to go back to Colorado. And my mom was like, "You need to come home. You need to figure this out." And I was like, I got this girl with me. Like, what am I going to do? So my mom was like, I'm about to come pick you up because I was at my stepdad's house at the time. They had 2 separate homes. And I was like, oh, shucks. What am I going to do? So I was like, no, Mom, don't come. I'll figure out a way. I'll come to you. I'll come to your house. And so my mom was like, you need to get here. And she's frantic. And the girl was like, well, shit, I'll take you. And I was like, nah. Your whole family, like her whole family, right? So I was like, nah, right? So she's like, no, you don't even gotta worry about it. I got you. I'm gonna drop you off and then I'll leave. You call me when you're ready for me to pick you up. And I was like, this is such a bad idea. But I was like, all right, cool. She pulled up to my mom's house and basically was like, I'm not leaving. We about to do this today. And I was like, oh, no. And before we were in the car arguing and like my little siblings came outside and I was like, oh my God. So then my mama comes outside and she's like, who's that out there? And I'm like, oh my God. And so I was like, okay, you can come in, but like, don't tell nobody that we're dating. Mind you, she's a whole touch me not.
Good stuff.
So like, oh God, my mom's gonna know. And as the day progressed, my mom just kind of, put 2 and 2 together. And my mom was like, she called me to her room. She's like, hey, I know that you're dating that girl. You don't gotta lie to me. I know that's not just your friend. I see how she look at you. I'm not upset. I'm not mad. I support you. And she's like, but there's gonna be people who aren't gonna support you. And so she was like, is this something that's serious? And I was like, I think so. Like, I think I really like her. And my mom was like, well, just, you got to be, ready for whatever comes. And at the time, don't ask, don't tell was still a thing in the Navy. So my mama was like, what you going to do after boot camp? Because you can't date her because they can kick you out. And I was like, we'll just cross that bridge.
All right, we'll deal with that tomorrow. We ain't got to deal with that today. Let's get through the tornado right now.
Yes. And then the tornado never even freaking hit the airport. And then my mom told everybody. And so she's a proud mom. She's
that's how you came out.
Proud gay parent.
Well, that's what's up. I mean, those are few and far between. My mom's very supportive too, so I understand. It definitely makes a big difference.
Yes,
you have
it does.
That.
We're fortunate.
Like my mom knows. Yeah.
A lot of people aren't.
No.
I dealt with some parents who have just I dated whole studs, and their parents have just been like, it's a phase. She'll find a boy.
Are you kidding me?
She is the boy.
What up? It's your host, Ashley, and I'm interrupting this podcast to ask, are you following us? Have you downloaded the podcast? Are you subscribed to us on YouTube? If you're not already, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on all platforms, Queerly Black. I'm going to let y'all get back to the show. Peace.
What are you talking about?
Have you seen your daughter?
She's what?
That daughter right there? Can't be talking about her.
Nah, literally,
Yeah.
like, whole way back parents.
Yeah, nah, and they'll be like, doing crazy stuff. Like I remember early on, like my mom would do stuff. She'd be like, "Oh, yeah, don't cut your hair anymore," or don't, like little hints of like, is my daughter like still in there? Like, and you're like, Mom, let that go. Come on, like let it go.
My mom was like, she's like, so, are you gonna start dressing like a boy now? No, Mom.
Like all gay girls don't dress like boys.
We tried. Well, I went to the STEM phase where I tried, but apparently I wasn't hard enough, and so I was like, I couldn't pull it off. But I tried.
Right. So talk about like, so you're in this space, classified as a femme, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the label thing. Just I'm putting it out there just for people to frame this up, right? Talk about your experience as a femme in the queer space, but then also we'll talk about that as it relates to dating. But just talk about it as a person first, and then we'll talk about it.
As a person, honestly, when it comes to like the hetero world, obviously men look at me and they're just like, you ain't had the right one. We hear that. That's fine. Mm-hmm. Respect that. They got egos and stuff. But when it comes to just operating as a feminine woman in the queer space, it's like you get no real respect and you almost get no real like acknowledgement. I've been producing movies. It's my movie. I'm directing it. And I've had people like not listen to a thing I'm saying. Like I have to now ask a stud, or I have to pull a man aside. There was once I actually had to grab the guy who was the on-set cook, because he was the only man there, to be like, hey, can you relay this message to these other gay men? Like, no one really respects you, I feel like. And I feel like a lot of people, and I don't know if it's, because they've had some bad experiences, but it's like when there's a feminine woman, you almost like disregard her as being queer at all anyways. Like it's like, oh, it's just a phase for you, or, oh, she'll find some guy, and maybe, who knows, maybe I will date some guy in the future, but right now I'm here with you.
Right. And
respect that. Like I am actively here with you, or it's like, if I go to a pride and I'm all pride clothes, it's like, oh, you must be here supporting one of your friends.
Why?
Yeah, the one whose vagina I just ate before we got here. God damn it.
Whoa.
It's so bad. I really do feel like, and working in my industry, there aren't a lot of feminine women working in this industry. And it's difficult because a lot of the masculine women and a lot of the men, when I'm talking to them about my experience, they can't really relate to like the struggle or like the constant disrespect I receive. And it just, it's infuriating. And when it comes to dating, a lot of times my partners are disrespected more than I am, period. I'm just their arm candy. It doesn't matter if I came up with the entire concept of what they're doing. It doesn't matter if I put their entire everything together. It doesn't matter if I put the entire reason why we're all here together. It doesn't matter. It's like I show up feminine in a gown, heels, full face of makeup with somebody with a blazer on my arm, and nobody sees me. Like, it's like, oh, what up, bro? Hey, bro, what? It's like,
hello.
Oh, thanks for inviting me, bro. Wait, am I invisible? Like,
so it sounds like a lot of the things that hetero women struggle with are similar in the queer femme space.
Yeah.
As it relates to like dating, like, well, for one, do you have a type, right? Because I think people assume that like you're a femme, so you're gonna date a masculine presenting woman. Is that true?
I've dated femmes. I've dated studs. Here's the thing, though. Okay. Here's the thing. Femmes are just a little bit more high maintenance. And so for me, you know, when I'm considering like being in a real relationship, I'm like, do I want to be the one who gets spoiled? Or do I want to be the one who's gonna have to go get some girl's hair done? Like I don't know.
You're like, I'm not trying to keep nobody for real.
Like, God damn, $600. I do my own. Can I do your hair? Like, wait a minute. Hold up, girl. Like, the gifts are also different, you know?
Right,
like,
right. Yeah, it is.
Hoes think that everybody's just out here buying designer bags, and it's like, we are regular schmegular people. Sit the fuck down. But studs don't act like, studs just be like, can I get a nice cologne? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
So sometimes when it comes to dating, I'm like, damn, she's so fine and she's so bad, but can I afford it?
Yeah. Said price too high. Price too high. But yeah, that's crazy. That's wild. That's wild. Because I think well, at least, I mean, I know some studs that are like that too, right? Like they'll see a feminine woman and be like, nah, I'm cool on her. You know what I mean? Like she look expensive, which is great. But then, you know, you have some that get with them and you like, bro, what you thought? What did you think that was?
No, I'm like the easiest femme today. I do my own nails, I do my own hair. I will give myself a facial. I'm so
one of a kind.
Like,
yeah,
I'm frugal. You want me to give somebody else my money to do what I could learn how to do on YouTube? Put the money in my hand.
And let's keep it moving. So when it comes to like so like dating stuff, like you had mentioned earlier, like you dated a touch me not, right? So like now when you get to that aspect of the relationship, right, is there a conversation? Because I know from your content that you're a bit aggressive, right? So like, is there is there a conversation that has to happen for a film dating a stud? Because at the end of the day, when everybody's clothes off, you're still both women, right? So like, how you show up in the room can look very different than what people perceive you as in public. So how does
we don't know what you guys, because you guys are all so different. Like people in general, we're all different, but you know, it's pretty standard when it comes to femmes, right? You pretty much,
is it?
I think, well, we know you're gonna go down on us. Some of us maybe don't want you to penetrate, but like you know when you see a femme, it's like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and munch that, right? But we don't know. We don't know.
You don't know, right? Yeah,
because you guys are all so different, and like some studs are like, don't touch me. Some studs are like, well, you could touch me down there, but like, I'm not taking my bra off. And then some studs are like, I'm just out here, I'm a woman too, just do whatever, right? Some studs are like, you can't penetrate me. Some studs are like, actually, I want you to penetrate me. And you're like, I didn't expect that from you. Like, so, like it's just different.
But like, is that a conversation? Do you talk like you actively like, okay, so we about to smash, or like, okay, so let's have like, let's talk head to toe, like let's do you like to kiss? Do you like?
Yes.
Are you serious? Really?
So if you're like dating, then maybe third, fourth date, you start to like trying to have that conversation. We try to fill it out first. Like we try to see like, how feminine are you guys? Like, what are your mannerisms like? Like, does your tone change and range, right?
Your tone.
It's true.
Do you moan or do you groan? Like, what do you do? Like, what's your energy?
When you bite some good food, what is the sound that, you know what I mean? Like
at dinner, like you're at dinner listening, like,
yes. But if we met.
What up? It's your host, Ashley, and I'm interrupting this podcast to ask, are you following us? Have you downloaded the podcast? Are you subscribed to us on YouTube? If you're not already, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on all platforms, Queerly Black. I'm going to let y'all get back to the show. Peace.
That's what you guys, like, it's like a one night stand, like a hookup. A lot of times we just let you guys take the lead because we don't want to offend or cross a line. We don't want to do too much, you know? So like a lot of times when it comes to like just hooking up, like we just met at a club, we're going to come hook up. We don't really do too much when it comes to y'all. We'll wait till like maybe the second or third time.
Pillow princess it out, just like, all right. Yeah. Cool. But what if the stud want to be a pillow princess?
And then that's what. So then typically,
she
like,
landed there like,
we really got to fill it out. We let you guys take full charge, and if a stud goes to like turn on her back, it's like, oh shit. Okay. I was waiting for this. I got you. Hold on. Right? It's true. You like stretching on your tongue, like, does it fit? Like, I don't know, you know? But we the first time, if we're just hooking up, a lot of times we just let you guys take the lead. And but if we are dating, we try to like do little fillers, little fillers.
Yeah. Like give you a hug and like put your hands a little low. Like, okay, oh, she wasn't too offended by that. Okay.
What? Can I do it naked though? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because that's different energy right there.
Yeah. We get scared.
That's crazy. It's wild. But like, I think people don't really think about that. Like for you guys, and so it's a little more challenging because, to your point, I think by and large, you know, for studs, they kind of take on certain aspects of like, okay, you know, this woman, there's certain things that are gonna happen, you know, strap, no strap, eat her out, don't eat her out. Okay, like, but for you guys, like maneuvering a masculine woman is like a little different because there's the spectrum of like her masculinity, like how much of a dude or like how much of that is she like really trying to own. And so there's that whole thing. So like talk about your like worst sexual experience with the stud.
Oh, okay. I won't tell. Okay, no names or nothing. So there was a stud that like I really liked, and I was like, okay, like she gives me like really dom energy. Like I like this, you know, whatever. And at the time, I was messing with a femme, but I had stopped messing with her to like deal with this stud, and I like. We built up the sex thing, right? Like we're talking on the phone, like we're like on FaceTime, like we're building up, you know, the sex. And then finally we start to have it. And it was just, hold on, because, okay. So it was just a whole bunch of like, I think what was happening was tribbing, but it was a whole bunch of like, rapid movement like this, but like pelvis on pelvis. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, please stop. Please stop. Right? And so she was like going down on me, and it was just like, do you know where you are? It was like
where you are.
I know. I don't mind messy head. It's fun. That's cool. But like when I genuinely feel like you are thinking that you're eating a cheeseburger, I just cannot. It was not. I was just like, okay, can we flag on the play? Please stop. And I was even like, I tried to like take control, and I was like, let me on top of you, and let me like scissor you, and let me do something else. Mm-hmm. And it was even from the bottom. Even from the bottom, it was just like, I just remember her grabbing me, and I was trying to like scissor her. So, you know, I'm skinny.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm skinny. She was skinny. So you can't just, this? Yeah. Oh my God. I was like, please stop. I couldn't. I was miserable. I was hurting so bad. None of that was enjoyable. I literally was like, okay, look, I'm holding myself on the end of the bed. And I was like, let's talk. Can you just please slow down? And she said, what do you mean? She's excited. I'm like, is this what you like when you hook up with people? Is this what you do?
You be doing this?
And she was like, yeah, no one ever. And I was like,
they lying, babe.
No, this is not good, right?
So you stopped in the middle of this session to give her a 101 lesson.
Yes. Whew. And she did better. Once I was like, okay, let's work back into it. You know, she did better, but it took a minute. It took a minute for her to
eventually kill her confidence. She wasn't like, you know, I don't, you know, she took the lesson.
She took the lesson, and she became.
You hear that, ladies? Y'all hear that? Take the lesson. Okay.
Take the lesson.
Take the lesson. Take the lesson.
I thought she was gonna get offended, but she took the lesson, and I was like, but it was so bad. I'm a
poor thing.
I'm a human person. It was bad.
It was. I'm a human person. I'm not an animal.
I'm not your pillow. I feel like, you know, like when boys are practicing with their pillow, that's what it felt like. I'm a human person.
She was excited.
It was terrible. It was the worst.
Okay, now just to balance it out, now talk about your best experience and give the people some tips, since you own lingerie line, you got sex toys, all this stuff. Drop the knowledge on some people. Drop some knowledge on the people.
Oh, okay. I think that the best sex experience is when both people come into it with the idea of like, this is going to be passionate fun. If you could have fun with sex. So using different toys and having sex in different places, and let me use a butt plug on you. I get that we're lesbians.
All right.
Put in the butt plug.
Flag on the play. Okay, let's rewind. Let's go back.
They're only this big. It's like a little. It's like your little nub. Like.
Let's go back.
I'm gonna send you one.
Toys. Toys. Toys.
Mm-hmm.
So, how does one introduce toys to their partner? If you are like in a new relationship, you don't know if they. I mean, you can obviously ask, and let's say the answer is no, right? Yeah. How do you introduce that? And like, what would be a good starter toy for someone who's never experienced that? Because I think the variety is great. You need the variety, especially in a long-term relationship. Mm-hmm. But for people who are like right at the beginning, like don't start out with like nothing crazy. Just ease the people into it.
If I was hooking up with somebody, we were active, and I was thinking like, dang, I would really like to like tie this person up or something, right? I don't think I would say that, but I would be like, I would just be like,
you would look really cute tied up.
No, I would just ask them like, hey, do you want to try something with me? And of course they'll be like, try what? And I'll just be like, have you ever used a toy before? And most of us have all used like straps, right? That's pretty standard. A vibrator right here and there. Mm-hmm. That's pretty standard. But if I wanted to, like, I don't know, tie somebody to my wall or something, right? Because there are toys you can do that with. I would just be like, how much do you trust me? How much do you trust me? And no one's gonna be like, I don't trust you. Right. No, but see, they won't say it in the middle of it, right? They'll just be like, I trust you. And I'm like, do you? Like, yeah. Let me tie you up. And at first people be like, well, you said what? And I'm like, you say you trust me, right?
Wait, that was a stud because your voice got deep. Wait, you said what? What you about to do to me?
All right, like you said you trust me, right? Let me just tie you up.
I don't trust you like that. Hold up.
If somebody's uncomfortable, I always start with like tying up something, not their entire person. And that's how I am too. I hate to be tied up because I don't like to be restricted. But I would just be like, let me just tie one of your arms. Just one, that's it, right? And typically once people realize like, oh shit, this isn't bad, I'd be like, let me tap your other arm. And then you just kind of progress.
Let me put your legs behind your back.
It's true. Okay. There are toys for that.
Let me put this butt plug in here real quick. Hold up.
You gotta work with butt plugs. You gotta be like, we've been together for a good little minute, and then you introduce the whole.
What is that, like year 2? Is this year 2?
Nah,
you get a butt plug in year 2, like
Sexcapade 10. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. It's our anniversary. Let me let's take it to the next. Let's take our relationship to the next level.
No fact. But I
What up? It's your host Ashley, and I'm interrupting this podcast to ask: are you following us? Have you downloaded the podcast? Are you subscribed to us on YouTube? If you're not already, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on all platforms, Queerly Black. I'm going to let y'all get back to the show. Peace.
I like sexually free people in general. So I don't do like the whole hookup thing. I mean, I've been in relationships forever, but I like people that are sexually free, whether they're a woman or they're a man. If we could just make it fun and make it like enjoyable and passionate for both of us, it's always going to be an experience, I think. So typically the people that I'm with are like, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah. No, that's dope. So y'all hear that? Just be open. Have fun.
Be open.
Be passionate. That's the lesson. No, for real. Because I mean, I think like you talk about the worst experience, right? Like there are a lot of people who they might look a certain way, but they don't know what they're doing. You know, and I just don't want people out here just doing whatever.
It was so bad. Oh God, it was. I called my mama.
Yeah, like she's like probably single, like doing this to people and they're not telling her. Like they just got her in their group text, like, yo, I just fucked this girl and she was fucking terrible. Like they just dogging her out. She has no idea.
It's true. And then you never mess with her again, but really she just needed a little bit of
a little coaching.
Yeah.
A little love. A little love.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. No, that's dope. That's dope. I love that. So like as far as you just kind of like even just on this topic of talking about like sex so freely, having an adult line, lingerie line, all these things, and being so comfortable with your sexuality or femininity, just like that whole thing, like where does that come from for you?
So my mom, if you met her, the best lady, but my mom just kind of I've always been very feminine. My mom's a very feminine woman. So growing up, she just never wanted me to like shrink any part of myself. I was just raised to be expressive, right? So like, I don't have to hold anything in. And I think when I was a kid, obviously when you're a kid, there's some things you can't say. But when I was a kid and I was a teenager, I just didn't realize what being an adult would be like and what that actually meant as a woman, right? To be able to be expressive and to not hold anything back. And my mom's always just been like, if you think it, fuck it, say it. And if they don't like it, then they don't gotta like it. You're gonna say some things I don't like, but just don't shrink yourself. And as I was growing up, I don't know, my mom was just always like, just be who you want to be, dress how you want to dress. So if I wanted to wear a little mini skirt, she was like, all right, but you're not having sex though, right? Okay. Wear the skirt then, wear the skirt, right? Also, as I was getting more interested in like sex and understanding those things, my parents provided a space where I can come to them and I could talk to them about it. And when I was, in my maybe like early 20s, and now I'm dating like real adults. And I'm just like, I never did some of these things before. I was still able to like call my mom, or I was still able to like call my dads at the time, my stepdad and my real dad, and just like ask them some of these questions. And they've always just provided that space. So for me now, I don't know. Like some people hate that I don't have a filter, but I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's cool because even if it's not for people who are like, maybe it's not that a girl or someone wants to pose online with lingerie, but I think even the concept of feeling more comfortable with yourself and knowing that that's okay, because I think there are people who want to be that way, like they want to be free, even if it's in their private space, like with their partner or with, themselves, but they don't feel like there's like, they don't feel like there's no one else that's doing this, but no, actually there are, so I think that comfortability for people is super important, because people don't have parents that they can go and talk to about this kind of stuff where it feels safe, or it feels like this not a taboo topic, like, oh, I can't talk about this, or I can't ask about this, I can't, so I feel like that part of it makes people feel more free. As far as so obviously the last couple of years, I think you've been in a relationship, and I don't know how long you and Fresh you've been together, but you guys have recently separated, and I want to talk about for you the process of being on a public platform with your relationship, allowing people into your business, because you are allowing people in your business. And I think people miss that, you guys don't have to talk about your business. You probably feel an obligation because you put, you are on a public platform, but you still don't have to share every part of your business. Right. And so allowing people to know the inner workings of your life. But I don't want to talk about that as much as I want to talk about the process of rebuilding yourself, kind of creating your own identity after being public for so long. What does that look like for you today?
First, I love that you said that you invite people in, because that's factual. And then once you've invited people in, you do feel almost like a responsibility, right? To like, well, damn, you can't start telling me the story not finished. And that's just a thing all in its own. But for me, you know, it's heartbreaking to separate from somebody that you thought you would either spend more time with or forever with. My thing right now for me is just to take life a little slower. I spent my 20s feeling like I needed to like erase some clock that doesn't actually exist, right? Like we've somehow convinced ourselves that we have to be perfectly successful before we make it to 30, and that you have Forbes riches under 30, and it's like it's a lot of stress. But for me, as I'm entering this like new era and coming into the single world post 30s, I'm just kind of like, so many things don't matter. So many things don't matter. I can turn down a gig if I'm tired, and I can not do a project if I don't feel like it. Like just take time out for you, you know, find yourself, like your genuine real self, not the facade that you have to put out to the world, not, you know, who people think you should be, but genuinely find time for just you. I'm spending more time with my family. I'm spending more time with my friends, and I'm going places because I want to, and not because I was invited, or I'm gonna have a section, or like just because I want to just go enjoy that place. I'm going to straight places now just because I want to be able to go to a place and just kind of chill out. And I'm in school, so
it's dope. What are you in school for?
Film and television.
Of course.
That's my thing, right? It's just about being healed here.
Yeah.
Centered here. My entire world, everything has to be able to wrap back here. If it doesn't, for me, it's not a priority. It's not a thing. I'm getting to a place of healing, and with that healing, I want to help other people heal. There's a lot of people. I get so many DMs from people, you know, LaCie, I went through this, you know, how did you work through it? And I hate those questions, because it's like, well, I haven't worked through, I'm working through it.
Actively.
I'm actively, I just saw my therapist and like I'm actively
right.
going through this.
Shout out to therapy.
Right? Yeah. So for me, that's what it is. It's just finding a comfort within myself now. When you're married or you're with somebody for a long time, they become your comfort. They're your home. You can't sleep without them. You're not, you don't even want to eat if they're not eating with you. You don't even want to watch a certain show because you know you want to, they become, your worlds collide. Once you separate, you really have to focus on what your world looks like for just you. And for me, it's just about living an authentic life, making more time for people that love me, that support me, and trying to motivate other women to like work every day as a process. But that's just kind of where I am right now. And obviously going to school, because it's kicking my ass.
Nah, school's crazy. What would you say is like one thing that one lesson that, and of course, you know, this is an ever evolving question, I'm sure, but one lesson that you take from your marriage that you will take into your next relationship, or as you're dating and trying to find your person again, you know, that you're like, this thing right here is like key for me.
There's two equally very important things that I've learned. One is, as I'm choosing who I want to date going forward, it really is about taking more time and learning who that person genuinely is. I talked on a different podcast about, I was bonded to my last partner because we had similar end goals, right? Like what we wanted for ourselves ultimately looked the same, but our actual journeys were drastically different. And we were just, it was always like combative, because I'm not that, and I don't want to be that, and I don't want to do that. well, I'm not that, and I don't want to do that. And it's
right.
like you're trying to combine these very drastic journeys, and it's like, well, now I'm losing myself. Well, now I'm losing myself. Well, now I feel resentful because I'm not that, and it's just like, I know it's difficult because girls will be girls, but we like falling in love. We like that immediate, feeling. But for me, I
feel like falling in love.
It's bad. I'm excited to fall in love again already.
Yeah.
But, I would say for me, it's learning who that person is and genuinely taking your time, and also no matter who I date in the future, whether it's another person with a platform, it's probably not because I kind of stray away, or whatever, anybody. I think once you bring your drama to social media, you cannot take it back. And one of the biggest regrets that I have, was going through a scandal, and I thought I was done. I hate this bitch, so let me take everything. And y'all can have her, throwing her out with the trash. And then 4 days later, it's like, oh, I do forgive you. We gotta address this. But then you have to keep addressing it all the time, because you can't tell half the story. So once you start bringing your drama to social media, it really doesn't matter how you try to spin it, how you try to play it, how you try to avoid it. It's out there now, and it's just, your fans can be worse than your family, like as far as not forgiving the person that you're with.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't bring my drama. I would bring my partner to social media because I don't want to hide anybody, but I wouldn't bring the drama. And I would just take more time to really learn who it is that I'm inviting into my life and my bed and my heart.
Yeah, no, I feel it for sure. I feel it. all good stuff. All good stuff. Hope y'all listening. One of the things you talked about that I loved, like this is probably this is one of your reels. You were talking about manifesting and then being tested.
Yes.
And people being like, oh, like it's so hard. Now I loved it because I feel like I personally understand that. Like I've, gone to school, got a master's degree, house, family, work real hard, all this stuff, right? But and people see certain things and they're like, oh, I want that. And I'm like, yeah, you want that, but like, do you know like what it takes to get that? Like,
yes,
even if we're not talking about hard work, do you know how much that cost?
Yes.
Price tag. And then, just the hard work of it all. And I feel like we ask for a lot, but then don't want to do the follow through of like the work. It's like, oh yeah, I want to be, to your point about earlier about being in your 20s and being, oh yeah, I want to be on the list. I want to be this by 30, blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, do you understand? Like these people never went to the club. These people never spent money. They lived in their parents' basements. They like, didn't like, they saved every penny that they had to build computers and like, they wore the same outfit every day. They weren't like on Instagram flossing and doing all this crazy stuff, right? But nobody wants to do that part. Nobody wants to be like, oh yeah, no, I can't hang out because I got to work on this project, or no one like that part of it. That's the heart. That's the work. So I resonated with it so much. But just along those lines, like what made you start kind of sharing that part of the journey? Because I think people do look at you and other, social media influencers and YouTubers, and they're like, oh, like you guys are so successful, you have this following and blah, blah, blah. And not understanding that what comes with that is that as soon as I have a human moment, like I share something private, now I have to be accountable to every last one of y'all for the rest of my life, because no one's going to leave me alone about it. Or if I make a mistake, or if I show the wrong thing, or if I look sad, oh, now all these things, right? So like what made you start sharing like those parts of your journey?
Originally a couple years ago, literally a couple years ago, I didn't share very much of myself on social media because I didn't know like what the lines were, right? I would share like a picture of myself because I'm pretty, but like I wasn't really letting everybody in. And once we made a couple's YouTube channel, people wanted to know more about me, and I was still kind of like, no.
Right.
But
I don't know y'all like that.
I don't know y'all. No facts. Like, I don't know y'all like that. But once we started to grow, because we met we're still early in our careers, but we met early in our careers, and we were just like, let's grow this together. Once we started growing it together, in real life, my friends are always like, oh, here's LaCie being a counselor. Here's LaCie trying to be somebody's therapist, right? And I'm just like, I just want everybody to understand. Like, that's just me in real life. And I was like, well, as I'm growing, what do I want my brand to be? Right? Do I want it to just be, oh, held a pretty face? No, because there's so much more, and there are so many other women that are so much more. And so it just became a matter of trying to be vulnerable. And this literally happened like a year ago or so. Like, I'm gonna go live. I'm just gonna have a conversation with people. I'm just gonna like be vulnerable. And then my vulnerability just took like a plummet, and I was just too vulnerable. It's crying all the time. It was a mess. But you know, when you have that friend and you watch that friend go through some real hard stuff in life, and they're breaking down, and you're just like, I want you to be better. That's what my fans were for me. And so when I started to feel better, I just wanted to share that. You know, I want you guys to know, like, thank you for your kind words. Thank you for everything. But like, in real life, I am taking the steps to do better and to be better. And I want to take you guys on that journey. And that's where that comes from. And so now, as I'm just in this, like, I don't know, just like much more peaceful space than I was even this time last year, even 6 months ago, I want to take people on that journey with me, because I think a lot of people, we do go through so many different hardships. And I battle with depression and suicide. And for me to have this platform, I want people to know that, like, I go through hard stuff too. My friends go through hard stuff too, you know. And even when I was, you know, married, and I would talk to my spouse, just be vulnerable with your fans as well. Let them, because you post all of the good stuff. Yeah. Let them also know that you're more than just this like person on the internet. You're a real person, and be vulnerable. Bring them in. Like, bring them into you, because they want to support you and they want to love you, and they're going to send you all of their good vibrations. And like, you're just the universe is going to just give that to you, but you have to be willing to receive it. So that's where that comes from for me. No, that's dope. That's super. Does that make sense? I don't. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I think it makes perfect sense. Just, you know, given the balance of, like, again, you guys see this amazing thing that we're growing, but at the end of the day, we're still human. We still go through things. It's still hard. Like, this is what we want, but we're going through all this stuff in the process. And it's motivating too, because it's like, I'm sure you're not perfect either, but you can do it. You know, you can do it too. Like, I'm not this like perfect human that just doesn't go through anything and I'm able to do this. It's like, no, I'm going through stuff every day, but I'm still gonna push through those things and still make my dreams come true. You know what I mean? And so can you. And so can you. Like, absolutely. Well, not you, but you know, because you are. Yeah, for sure. Like, so can you. Like, you can have your bad day and still the next day or the next hour, the next minute feel better and say, okay, I'm gonna write this script, or I'm gonna do this thing, or I'm gonna take this picture, or I'm gonna, you know, if whatever your career is, whatever your thing is, you can that next moment push forward in your dream and still have a bad day. On the topic of your dreams, I got like 2 more questions. Your career, so like becoming just really a creative person, filmmaking, writing, producing, all the things, acting. When did you start that? Oh my gosh. So not this relationship, but my relationship prior. I had just gotten out of the military, and I hated civilian life. I hated being a civilian. I hated civilians. Like, I was just like, I'm miserable. I hate everything. What did I do? I went through like this kind of depression when you're first transitioning out of the military. It's kind of like, okay, well, what am I going to do next? And people are always like, oh, you have military experience, you can do anything. No, I can't. Okay. I tried. People were hiring back then. So was kind of like in between like that phase, and I had just moved to Key West, Florida with my ex at the time. And she was like, babe, I just want you to be okay. And I was like, I want to be okay. And so she's like, okay, let's come up with a game plan. Get out of bed. Let's come up with a game plan. Right. And so she's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I feel like, I don't know. She was like, okay, what can you do?
Right.
And I've always written. That's always just been a thing I've done. So she's like, why don't you write a web series? And I was like, no. And she's like, just do it. And I'm like, no. And at the time, I think there were like maybe like 5 web series that people were watching, but there were no web series on at the time. And so she was like, just write one. And I was like, oh, there are no actors here. All it is military people. No one is here. Everybody's white. What am I? What am I? And so she's like, we got friends. We can hit them up and ask what they're interested in. So she literally calls all of our friends over. We have a dinner night, and she was like, so if baby wrote a web series, who will be in it? And they were like, we all would. And so I was like, really? And so they're like, yeah. 2 weeks later, I had my first web series, Unclassified, written. And my ex bought me my first set of equipment. And then she learned how to edit from YouTube. And we Googled like camera placement and how to figure stuff out. And we just put it together. And that was like, I didn't think that anybody would watch it. In the first maybe 4 months, that I think it was like I was on like episode 3 at the time, and like no one had watched it. It was only at like 10,000, 5,000 views, something like that. And I was like, no one's gonna watch this. I want to take it off the internet. And so she actually started like reaching out to like different magazines and different bloggers. And she was kind of like my PR, right? And so she's telling them about our web series, and we were getting hit up to do interviews like all over the place. We did interviews in Europe. Like it was amazing. And so I was like, oh shucks. And then we just started getting all these views, and I was like, they like us. They really read the comments. I was like, they think we can't act. But but from there, it was just so motivating. I would definitely credit her for, like, I wouldn't be here had I never dated her.
Yeah.
She was the editor of my first book. So I don't know, like that's where it started. And then I met my ex-wife, and she's like, well, I like to film. You like to write. Let's do some shit. Like, all right, let's just do it. And then the rest is COVID, because we started getting booked the most during COVID.
Yes. And y'all definitely have put together some great content together. Your writing is crazy.
Oh,
y'all haven't seen some of their productions. Y'all need to just go check them out. You can just go watch the previews and you'll see what I'm talking about. Freshie and LaCie Productions, right?
LaCie and Freshie.
There you go. LaCie and Freshie Productions. Y'all go check it out. It's a wild time. Super dope, man. What do you have coming up?
I actually just filmed my very first short film, like literally by myself. There are people who want to work for me and people who want to work with me, but right now I'm in a place where I just don't want anybody to take anything from me. If you can't show up one day, or if you leave, I have nothing, kind of like. That's also where I'm at in my life. So I just filmed my very first short film last night. And it's called A Love Like This. And that should be coming out on January 1st, because I'm also editing it myself, but I'm also building. So I want to have a multimedia company.
Yeah.
So I'm also putting out audiobooks as well. I've partnered with somebody in South Africa who is actually, she's been skimming through all types of South African stories and casting for South African readers, so that my platform isn't just American, because my fans aren't just American, and I can't make content for them because there is a barrier. So she's actually like, we can do some audiobooks in South Africa and then add them, just send me the audio, boom, I could disperse them under my company. So we're doing that. And then I'm just working with some other people who are the writers to create other content.
No, yeah, of course. You can't tell everything. I respect it. I was trying to get exclusive, y'all, but listen,
I know.
Gotta wait and see.
I know.
No, it's good. Last question is this, right? So one piece of advice for somebody who is on their own queer journey, figuring out their own identity, what would you tell them?
I would say do you at your pace. If you don't want to come out, don't come out. If you aren't ready to wear rainbow at Pride, don't wear rainbow at Pride. It's true though, wherever you are, be there, and don't let anybody pressure you to be where they are, because your journey is your own.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Tell the people where they can find you. If
you guys want to find me, you guys can find me on Instagram at itsme_LaCie. DM me. I don't. I try to DM back as often as possible, unless you say weird things to me. If you guys want to watch some of my content, you guys can find LaCie Introduction Productions on Vimeo on demand, U42. That's another company, and YouTube. We try to put all of our content on YouTube for you guys. Also, YouTube, you can find my personal stuff on Unclassified Media. And in the new year, I'll try to get as much of this content on Amazon as possible. It's just these subtitles are kicking my ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They take a little while.
And then if you guys want to listen to my podcast, you can find it at LaCie IG on any platform.
Dope, man. Well, look, Lace, thank you so much for coming through, blessing the platform. This was a fun conversation. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Much well wishes to you in 2023. We going up. It's only up from here. And y'all already know what it is. It's another episode of the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley. I'll catch y'all on the next one.